Thank you very much, Adilson, for your for your comments, for your gratitude to come here. So you ready for the new year? Yes, of course you are. You've been preparing the whole year for the next year, right? So your abilities, your energy is all like loaded, and of course, no challenge will challenge you in this year, so that you can't overcome. And today we're gonna discuss a little bit about forgiveness. And we put there the question, can you forgive? So as we are coming to Spiritist centers, I come every week. For many of you, come more than once a week, and for the whole year. And of course, we have heard a lot of talks about forgiveness, not only in the Spiritist talks, lectures, but of course on the internet. Just put the word forgiveness there, come up with many other talks, lectures, self-help books. It's everywhere. The topic with the recently years, the topic of forgiveness is hot topic for everyone, subject to stun, because we are like convincing ourselves that forgiveness is something very important to us, is extremely important for our happiness. Throughout the years, we are searching for happiness, for harmony, for peace, and we are like getting aware that to achieve all these and many other things, we have like to work forgiveness. And if like every kind, because it came out there, many tools, many ways that people studied, researched, like in spirituality, in psychology, in science, in behavior. I mean, as you name it. And of course, all that will help. There won't be like a single thing that will help you, right? So if like there's no lack of tools out there that we can work. Like we can Google and use it one day, the other day. So we came here like not with the tools, real tools that will help you actually. We are discussing the same tools that everyone else is discussing, right? Uh, no like new things will come up. Although we're gonna like speak a little more deep, we'll be more honest to ourselves, and as you're gonna notice along the way, and maybe you have to forgive me at the end. All right, go along the way. Like a couple weeks ago, uh, a, a member of our center, she is going to the center for some time, and she called me because she was going through a hard time with someone else. And she told me over the phone that she didn't like somebody. It's not that she had to forgive him for something. She just, for some reason, she didn't like this person. And she was so annoyed by not liking this person that she started having nightmares with this person, like asking him forgiveness, like this nightmares will repeat over and over to her, and she go, "My God, I didn't do anything for him. He didn't do anything for me. Although I don't like this person." And she said, "Is it normal, Adrian?" I said, "Oh, congratulations! You just like just one person. I mean, it's just one person that you don't like." And she said, "Oh, is it normal?" Yeah, of course, it is normal that we don't like people, right? It is normal that still on earth it is normal. Imagine just what she's not looking for vengeance or anything. She's just worried because she don't like one person. And she said, "Oh, you're saying this just because you want to like sugarcoat me, saying this to comfort me." And she said, "Oh, and how about you? You really ever didn't like somebody?" Well, I said, "Well, of course, of course. I had many people in my lifetime that I didn't like at all. I have many people in my days that I have to forgive. I have been hurted many, many repeated times in my life. And she said, I don't believe that you get hurt, that you have to forgive. You still do that? So of course. So she had a like very wrong idea of me or many people, that we don't get hurt, that we don't have to forgive. It's just because I'm here talking to you about forgiveness, I'm exporting unforgiving. I'm more in need of forgiving than maybe all of you altogether. It's not because I'm developing a science of forgiveness, or I'm in a Spiritist center as a director or as a past giver, or any other function, that I'm not getting hurt, that I don't have to forgive. I have to forgive as much as everybody else, maybe more. And then every talk that we say, like in here, I am teaching myself how to forgive. And it is very true. Don't get it like, I'm trying to be humble, because that's really wrong idea. I really need to forgive every day. I have to work really, really, really hard. Really hard. Every tools that I'm bringing here to you, I've been using it all the year long to try to forgive people. I'm doing prayer, meditation, all these things. I've been doing that. Don't think that I'm going to the Spirit Center and I'm good and so smooth with everybody. And there are people in the Spiritist Center, in the Spirit movement, that they think that we are like so above the experiences, the daily experience, that we overcame this already, that we don't get hurt. And what happened is, over our experiences, especially in Spiritist Center, people say mean things. They send mean texts. They convey, hurtful messages to us. And they think that we're going to get it so nicely as saints, that we won't be aggravated by their way of mean, sending to us. Of course, my friends, if any of you been mean to you for some reason, be sure I'll be aggravated. And of course, I'll be working hard to forgive you. And of course, many of you will know that I get aggravated with you, that I hurted by your words, by your mean way of treating myself. For many people in our Spiritist Center in my life, I make sure to show them that their way, their attitudes towards myself have hurted myself. I made afresh, my body's made afresh, and I'm in tune, in atonement, in expiation, in probation, could say that way, as everybody else, right? And there are so denial people out there that they think that they come up with their wrong ideas, wrong way of treating ourselves, and we're supposed to pretend that we don't get aggravated. Pretend, oh, it's okay, my friend. And when people here in the Spiritist Center, you get to know ourselves and get to know that I didn't forgive somebody else yet, you get shocked. And why that? Do you think that a speaker, that a past giver, that any of us here is so much more advanced than everybody else? No, not at all. The work that we do is working, improvement. So don't get shocked if any people around yourself, especially someone like giving talks, get aggravated, have difficulty in forgiving, and get a long time to forgive. And I feel so surprised when people feel that way. Oh, Adriano, you hurt it? You have to forgive? You see somebody is like with anger with somebody else. So what are you expecting? He's not angel. She's not angel yet. They are developing. We have to be aware that we are evolving. And we are in a stage of evolution that we are not perfect. We didn't develop our feelings, our emotions, so above all the experience that our relationships provide us, that we go like smooth. We have heard many occasions, even the highest spirits that came on earth, except for Christ, that had little trouble and had to forgive. Chico Xavier had many cases. Francis of Assisi, if you read his biography and everything, there's many cases he had to forgive. So we have to put down our masks. I think so. And say that we get hurt, and sometimes we can't forgive right away. I can't. I tell you the truth. I take long time sometimes to forgive. I'm going to work on the way of the slides. Why? And how we overcome this, of course. But I take long time to forgive. And sometimes we go around pretending that we don't get hurt, that I don't have to forgive because I read the books of Chico Xavier, that I read the books of Kardec, and then now I'm above not getting hurt. And what happens is, in our web of relationship, we go on pretending that I love Adilson so much that he never hurt me with his words, with his way of living, as much as elder, as much as everybody else. And then everybody go on pretending that. What happens is, over time, these little things go piling up, adding and adding. And then what happens is, explodes. And somebody gets really angry, and it really gets really more harder to forgive, to overcome, because our emotions is loaded a lot, our feelings really hurted, and our thoughts and on, as we're going to discuss. If we had been aware and accept that we can get hurted, that somebody is able to hurt me, and my words, my way of being, hurt somebody else, despite the fact that they are so advanced in many ways, we have been more careful, more prudent, and we had been mature enough to discuss these things. We are afraid to come up with forgiveness. I say, for example, that I get aggravated with Adilson. In a conversation in the groups, I have no courage at all to come up and say, Adilson, today at the door, the way you treated me hurted me. I speak to him, and he may clarify that because I may had a different view of the fact, and so on and so on, and the thing that aggravated me had gone. Instead, I pretend, and I had no courage to tell the group or tell to himself what happened. And then next step, and then over time I get all oblivious on this. Right? So today, the Apostle Paul said, for the children we give milk because, it's like a light food, but for the adults we give real food. So today I suppose that we are mature enough to work this really deep. Let us be aware that the fact is, I don't know, but I guess you can forgive everything in right away, that you never get hurt. And we're going to speak about this later on. So, let me put here. I brought here, over studying about forgiveness, all the ideas of Spiritism brings to us, and much more. I built up some of the slides that will guide us through some of the ideas that we could work throughout the year, that we could work not getting so hurted, aggravated, or if we are in anger with somebody else, if we hate somebody else, if we hold grudge against somebody else, how we could work all these things. When we talk about hate, grudge, we get scared. That's why sometimes it mounts on other things. We're scared about our own feelings. To admit that I may hate somebody. The problem, real problem sometimes, is not that we may hate somebody, that I deny the feelings that I hate somebody. And I don't work these feelings. I don't work the hurt feelings. I don't heal that. And over time, of course, you're going to gravitate it towards illnesses, mental illnesses, physical illnesses, and so forth. Okay? Forward, there are many buttons here. Not this one, I guess. Where? Can you help me here? Which button? Maybe I'm pressing the wrong button. Okay, the first steps about, because we are emotional beings, feelings run over us all the time, and emotions. And forgiveness is about emotions and feelings, right? If your emotions is not hurted, your feelings not hurted, I mean, we're like robots. Robots never get hurt. They don't have to forgive because they don't have emotions, they have feelings. So we have to acknowledge, to be aware of our emotions, right? That we are hurted or other emotions that comes up. That's one very important step to get aware of that. Okay, I got it here. Emotions are triggered ultra fast, depending on the situation. That's the fastest thing that happens to us is emotions. Many of our emotions are triggered so fast that we're not aware of it. So depending on the situation, if it hurts us so deep, it comes up flooding our system. And that's why we react so badly in many occasions that we could manage it, because we're not aware of the emotions that comes up and flood and take over our awareness, right? And then we react badly, and later on we repent. So these emotions triggered in moments of the situation is not well, if it's not well managed, of course, we'll turn to feelings. It's not technically right there. What happens, the idea is that emotions, sometimes they are so fast. I get angry, but like 5 minutes later, I'm not angry anymore, right? I have anger for like 5 seconds, 1 second, and it managed, and it's gone. But sometimes what happens, if it's these emotions stays longer, and then I have a feeling of anger for 2 hours, 3 hours, 10 days, 10 years, and a lifetime. And it's a real feeling of anger towards me, towards somebody else, towards the world, anything. So the emotions all the time is fast, but doesn't mean that it triggers and triggers over and over again the emotions of anger, because I have a feeling of anger, and then of course will outcome again as an emotional thing. And we have to be aware of that. This process can be very fast and take some time, of course. This can be very fast. Most of the time, it's very fast. This step is usually more difficult to acknowledge because most of the time it happens too fast, right? When emotions are involved at the same time. These things of emotions is the hardest to be aware of and acknowledge them in a moment because it happens fast. And many times, many emotions come out at the same time. Anger, frustration, desperation, irritations, and many other comes in the same time. And then if I'm not real trained, emotionally aware, working my spirituality, my mental states and so forth, I'm not aware that I am angry. And people say, do you think I am angry? So people are so not aware that they are angry that they are in a very high level of angriness or afraid of despair. They are overtaken by their emotions and yet they don't know that because they fast. So if we study our emotions, study ourselves, work in our emotions, and then will be easier for us because that's the first stop of everything that comes up in a relationship, especially the relationship that is wounded, that we have difficult. If I'm aware of my emotions, and then that's the scientist of behavior and psychology tells us that we should think of is to study our future emotions. I'm coming to the Spiritist Center today, and I might not like some of you, of course, okay? Don't be surprised if I don't like all of you together, the same thing. So it means that it could be some emotions will come up if the person that I don't like is in here, right? I have to be aware of that. And I will think, oh my God, what am I going to do? Adilson is going to be there, and I have some issues with him. So I may be aware that, okay, I'll be a little bit angry, maybe frustrated, maybe this and maybe that. Okay? And then I'll visualize, as we're going to work later on, some ways in a way that I could react when I meet him. I train my mind, saying hello, nice to meet you, nice to see you again, and so forth, right? That's something. And it's very important because when I meet him, let's suppose that very fast emotion of frustration, of indifference comes up. I'm aware of it. Oh, I take care of it in a moment, I manage it, and it doesn't grow. It doesn't contaminate the other feelings, the other emotions that will come up. If I don't take care of my frustration when I meet him, it's going to trigger other emotions and other emotions, right? But if I take care in the moment when I meet the person, I meet the situation, and try the most that I have to manage the situation, my emotions, the outcome will be much different. A lot of tragedies, a lot of complications in our relationship will be avoided, will be prevented. It's just a matter of thinking for 30 seconds here. All of us are going to regret the way we reacted to somebody else out of thinking, out of managing our emotions, right? Imagine through a lifetime, another lifetime. So that we should be aware of. I thought not saying this, but it was very important to me today. It was the first time in the year, and I was talking about forgiveness. And throughout this year, of course, I got hurt. I had to work forgiveness, okay? And I had this person that I had a little issue this year that I was still working on the issue of forgiveness. I gotta tell you, I had to work on this for months and so forth, prayer and etc., etc. I'm gonna tell you later. All I'm telling you is working on this case, in myself. So today I worked. I wake up later and I went to grab a cup of coffee in the store. Imagine the first person that I saw this year. It was the person. She was there. I opened the door and saw the person was sitting there. It was my eye crossed him. So my God, the first person in my year is that one.
Can you forgive?
And then, it was really hard still. I was working on forgiveness and so forth. And then the question came, can you forgive? So if I hadn't been working all this throughout the year and still working today, how it could be? How would be my emotions? We never know. We had to be working on these cases. So fortunately, I had a little success, but I still had to work on the case. Acknowledge your feelings, of course. The feelings, like anger, hatred, grudge, frustrated, disappointed, sadness, and depressed. Like there's a lot of more, like dozens more. We have to acknowledge that. We have to be aware that I'm frustrated, that I'm angry, that I'm depressed, that I'm disappointed, because forgiveness involves all this. Disappointment, like frustration with somebody else's action, frustration against ourselves, our experiences. So if we are aware that I'm frustrated with something or somebody, let's look ways, there is many ways out there to heal, to overcome the feelings of frustration. If I'm disappointed, if I'm angry with elder, so let's see, how can I work this angry feeling? Acknowledging that. If I happen to be hating somebody, it happens, people. On earth, we are on earth, people hate each other still, right? There's many hatred feelings out there, grudge going on there, perhaps in us, that we still don't know yet. See, if I aware of these feelings, and then what to do? What to do? But without getting aware and getting knowledge all this, and then it turns the job for ourselves much more difficult. So the basic here is to really study ourselves, the basic, and be humble enough, people, humble enough to say, I get aggravated. I have these feelings. I'm not a robot. When somebody really gets disappointed to you because you get angry, I mean, it's their problem, right? Tell him or her, I'm not a robot. I'm a human being in development. I'm in a world of expiation and tests. I'm not in an angelic world. In angelic world, I mean, we wouldn't be discussing this topic. If we're discussing forgiveness, let's suppose that angelic spirits by a chance just like fall in this room here, and he didn't know where. Just by listening, the topic here, say, oh my God, this word is a word of expiation. They are talking about forgiveness. Right? It's like in a school. If they like put something in your eyes, in your ear, and bring you to a classroom, and you are like a doctor in everything, and just like 30 seconds you hear the subject of the classroom, you say, oh, this is a fourth grade. Right? Like in here, like they come in here and say, oh, these people is the people lower words. So it means that we get hurt, that we hate somebody hates us. But what to do with all this, that's the real matter for us. That's the real thing to us. Okay, go. Once you know that you have any of these feelings or emotions towards other of yourselves, you should make a decision. That's the first step. You get to make a decision after acknowledging these things. That's the first step, the whole process that I'm trying to convey today to all of us. Make a decision. And this decision, of course, is to forgive. That's the thing. Acknowledging that I have anger towards somebody, that I hate somebody, that I'm angry with somebody. Okay, I know that already. I know this for a long time. So now I get to forgive. So to forgive, what I should do to forgive. So there are out there, and we're going to bring here many ways that we could do it, right? That comes the part of forgiveness. Forgiveness just doesn't come out of the blue, right? Doesn't come up like if I don't acknowledge that I'm not angry, that I'm not this or that. It doesn't happen. It's not by just looking to a Deus or to any of you that I'm gonna forgive you, right? It's by working on the case, looking, searching out. There are many tools that will offer us ways to heal ourselves, healing our feelings, healing our spirit. We are wounded. It's like a wound that we made to ourselves by this relationship. If I don't acknowledge that I have cut myself, I wouldn't go to the hospital, get some stitches, get some vaccine to not get infected, right? My feelings is wounded. I have to treat it. And there's many medications that we could treat our feelings, our emotions. And then I'll look out there those medicines. I'll treat them with care, with understanding, and so forth. Go ahead. Okay. Take actions. Okay. Let's take action. Okay. The sooner you start taking action, the better, of course. It just not being aware is not sufficient. Not knowing that you have to take action is sufficient. The sooner, let's suppose, in the moment, that's the best thing. Like getting aware of the emotion that's going on. Let's suppose that I got on the street when I left here and somebody really in some way mistrusted me, humiliated me, and the moment I start working, when we are working on the situation, I'm working already in the situation, right? Let's suppose the person start talking nonsense to me, mean words to me, provoking me. And the moment my mind start working, okay, he's not in a real mind. He's a human being. It start working. And then the triggers will not trigger all my emotions altogether. And by the end of the situation, I managed it at least a little. And the outcome, of course, will be much lighter so I can work later more and more, right? So the sooner the better. Don't let it for tomorrow if you can start it today, okay? But if you can't start it today, you can start it tomorrow. Okay. Your action will affect the outcome of your emotions and feelings as much as the future ones. That's how it goes. It's like a building block. One will affect the other. If you work it now, the new ones will come lighter and lighter and of course, with lesser time, you've gone with all the neglected, all the ill emotions and feelings that you had towards somebody else or towards yourselves. And the good feelings, the good emotions, of course, will trigger new things, will trigger new emotions, new feelings, new memories, new experiences. But however, because we have neglected and denied all this for a long time, not only in this lifetime and many other lifetimes, that our relationship in some way is jeopardized, right? Is really jeopardized because we carry these things that we are not aware of. And in our relationship, we get aggravated easily, we get emotional easily, we get frustrated easy because all this has a big load on our psyche, in our mental, in our emotional. And then the relationship that could be healthier, promoting more peace, more harmony, more advancement, is in a way contaminated by our past because we didn't treat it at all. And then people say, oh my God, my relationship doesn't go forward, doesn't succeed. It get, through short time, I get aggravated, hurt feelings and this and that. They are not aware that they are maybe bringing a big load of the past. that is not managed, it's not worked. And then every action is contaminated. Our words, our thoughts, our aura, our emanation of energy is contaminated. And then of course, the relationship will be in some way harmed. And then it may fail. Taking action will boost self-esteem. And self-esteem comes up. A lot of things comes up when we action. There's research out there about self-esteem. In the past, people think that self-esteem comes when, for example, I do makeup or some like, well-treated thing that we choose. Self-esteem comes out of work. I don't have self-esteem and do work. I work and have self-esteem. Good, high self-esteem. I don't wait here seated that my self-esteem comes up and I go to work or do whatever I have to do. I don't go to school, to gym, to that because my self-esteem is low. Your self-esteem is going to get higher if you go to school, if you go to gym, if you go to a Spiritist center, because that's going to boost your self-esteem. Self-esteem doesn't come out of the blue too. That's the new trend of self-esteem. So by forgiving somebody, forgiving yourself is an action that you're going to feel something in yourself that will boost your self-esteem and probably will help you have courage to forgive more and more and more. Don't wait to have good self-esteem to forgive somebody else, because your self-esteem will come when you forgive, when you try, when you work on forgiveness. I brought here some, not steps, but ways like prayer, meditate, and visualization. 3 things that works like these 3 measures or steps or activity that we do helps us to release imbalanced emotions, energies, or feelings, and will enable us to connect and collect health energies. When we pray, when we meditate, like just simple steps that is everyone is developing out there today. I'm not inventing anything here. When we pray, meditate, this can be all together in one time, right? In the moments of aggravation, try to meditate. Take like half a second. Prayer or visualization. Like I said in the beginning, I'm coming to here or coming to other places that I have something. Visualize the thing. Because in terms of forgiveness, when we wounded, our memories are wounded too. I have a wounded memory of somebody, of the past, my mother, my father, my ex-husband, my ex-wife, or any out there for long years. And that is a memory that is in me, can't be deleted at all. I acquired this memory of the situation. Can be a very deep memory, and that's the hardest to heal, because it's in me, this memory. So over time, I repeat, like reviving this memory of the moment when somebody mistreated me, betrayed me, whatever happened, of 10 years. But it's the memory, the thing about memory, as the expert says, it's not that I'm going there to the memory and watch the situation. Every time that I remember something, I'm reviving the situation in myself. Reviving with new features, because I'm like, since the situation, it passed 10 years, 40 years. And every time that I think about the situation is a new version. It's not the same version anymore. If I, by any chance, have never worked in anything of the situation, it getting aggravated and aggravated. The new version is getting sicker, I would say that way. And over time, of course, ill of any kind. Heart disease, cancer, or any other physical illnesses or mental illnesses, because it gets so loaded with new versions, new ill energies, contaminated all the other emotions. And my relationship is being, new ones is being destroyed by this because it's contaminated. Now my relationship is made of fear of betrayal, fear of death, right? That's something. But when we start working on the situation by praying, meditating, visualization, what happened? All the time that I think about the situation, I'm a new me, a better one, a better culprit, because when I got hurted, it's because I wasn't at all balanced, perfect. Because perfect spirit, they don't get hurt. Jesus never got. The highest spirit, they seldom, very rare get hurted, because they are in real balance. Anything at all could hurt them. That's why they don't need to forgive, right? If I get hurt because I'm imbalanced, I'm in development, right? So, but 10 years later, 40 years later, if I'm working myself spiritually, emotionally, my feelings, my spirituality, it means that I'm a lot better now. And by visualizing the old memory, I'm creating the situation, but now I'm better culprit. It's like I'm facing the same situation, but now 40 years later with Adriano, with all his acquisition now. I'm not facing the old situation with old me anymore. That's why in many cases, most of the cases, the memory regression towards the infants, towards the womb, or past lives work nice. Because when I regress my memory through therapeutic measures in a therapist to my previous reincarnation, from the time that I had the situation with this person, with these people, past 200 years. In 200 years, I'm a lot better, lot equipped. My emotional system, my feelings, my spirituality, my religiosity is much better. Now, my mind, even my physical being is much more equipped. And then I'm facing the situation. And I heal it. Now I see all different. Right? That's why it works so nice in many cases. But of course, if I'm not developed yet, if I face the same situation, even through regression memory or just by remembering spontaneously, it won't work it out because basically I'm in the same mode as before. And of course, that's why it should be done regression like on in therapeutic measures, because the doctor, the therapist, the person will make sure that we are prepared enough to face the situation again, right? Okay. So in here, I brought some other things. So many times I still have. My God, the time passed so fast, right? I still. Oh, when? Okay, let me put. This words are small and reading the phone.
You wanted that they read for you?
Huh?
Or did you just need a connection to the...
No, I got it here in the... Okay, if possible, if possible, let the other person... It's some techniques that I brought in here. It's out there too that we can like find it. Let the other person know your feelings. That can be done in person. So, the thing here, I told in the beginning, if possible, because it's not always possible, right? To let the person know that she hurted me. If possible, it's extremely important that I let Adilson know, come to him, explain. And a lot of things happens because we don't like let the other person, and we hold the feeling for a year. And what happened is this little virus is there. And every encounter that we have, this virus is acting behind the scenes, right? In a relation, like in an encounter with friends, we say some words like indirectly to go to that person. In a stud group, we make a comment, like just like to hit the other person. I see this happens, people. It happens. It happens a lot. So because the virus is acting behind the scenes, right, in us, like hurting, because I hadn't faced the person and worked the situation. This works better, of course, when the things are lighter. Words like not so deep wounds, that is, it's much harder, of course, when a person is raped and then go there and talk to the perpetrator, to the criminal. Of course, this situation requires much more things, but in general, the things of our daily lives could be healed just by an encounter of this. When you can even send a text message, right? It's so easy to say, oh, today you said something didn't help me. Can you explain it better? I very often, people know when I aggravated. I tell you. They know. In the Spirit Center, they know and they see. I, I can't lie. I can't lie like my emotions can lie. People will know me many times right away when I'm really a little bit off with them. And they know they'll take a day or two and I think we'll come back nicely. But I don't like make mysteries or secrets that I'm not really so nice with them. I'm not. And that's it. I'm gonna work it. Don't worry, I'm gonna get like I'm not gonna hurt you at all. But I'm aggravated and hurted, and that's it. One of coming back a little in our conversation is something very important too, is that when we are hurt, like in the basic steps, that we are aware of our feelings that I hate somebody, it's very important as well to isolate. It's like a wound. It's like hemorrhage. Hemorrhage. You have to isolate, not it to grow. So we have to work it in us. Forget it all. Try all costs not to get vengeance against the other person. That should be done in the first step too. I hate somebody. But it doesn't mean that I will do the same to him and to her. That's another situation. And then things will escalate to the worst for you or for the person. Getting aware that I hate somebody is the first step. That I had grudged somebody. And then now it's me and my emotions, my feelings, my grudge. It's me and my hate. And I am not at all costs going to vengeance, to avenge, to hurt the other person as she has hurted me. That goes to the basic, to the previous. Isolating this situation, the contamination. Because if I don't take this measure and then I'll be full contaminated, and then will escalate a lot, and then of course we see with daily experiences in people's life how bad it can be for the person when she go to the steps of avenging the situation and mistreat as the same, taking the same actions. Is preventive. This should be taken with the previous steps. When I say here that people should know that they aggravated us, that we have to get knowledge that our feelings and so forth, I'm not suggesting you at all that you will hurt somebody the same way. It's not because I'm aware that I had grudge against somebody, it doesn't mean I'm going to mistreat him or her because of that. It's just a matter of me and my grudge, the grudge that I had, my feelings that I hurted myself, right? And if it is possible to bring the other person to heal the situation, is really good. It's really good. But it's not always possible to bring the person to the situation to heal it, right? And then it's about me and myself and the feelings, right? And then we can, like, if possible, bring. If not, and then we could, like, do many other things. Go ahead. If not, you can tell a friend. Venting the situation, speaking the situation in many ways, or writing helps a lot. Tell a friend, I get this issue with somebody, and we had this problem, and I really hurt, I have anger towards him or her, and listen, this is good. The other person might help you by some kind words, some suggestions, or just by listening. Your problem will help you a lot. So if by any chance you don't have a friend to talk, you can, create a fictional character, like a friend, like your spirit guide, God, Jesus. That helps a lot too. Bring somebody creating in your mind. And like as well, some experts say that sometimes it works really nice when I transfer in a fictional way a character, like suppose I'm Adriano, and I suppose like John, and I ask John, with my problem, and see what happens. I suppose that he has the same problem. He's telling me his problem. Oh, let's suppose that I have some anger, not towards Adilson, but towards TJ. Towards TJ. Right? And then I create another character, but not me, but Elder. And Elder comes to me and say, "Oh, Adrian, I carrying this grudge against TJ," and explain the situation. And I, Adrian, will counsel him in some way. In my mind, oh, you should forgive because the benefit is that. Jesus told us to forgive him 7 times 7. You should visualize, you should pray. I'm giving him some counsel. This all goes in your mind, but the real one hurted me. It, according to the research, it works, and I do it a lot. Not only in question of forgiveness, but in many ways. Great other person with the same situation, and I am the one trying to help him or her. But at the end, I'm helping myself. I'm giving counsel to myself when I counsel somebody else in my mind. So, but you can invite Christ and see what Christ will tell, what Jesus will tell you, will tell the person. Imagine the person with the same situation. It's the same that I saw. Imagine someone else, you have your problems, and then, create a situation in which you can discuss all this. I'm gonna tell something, but okay. Forgiveness can take some time, and a lot of time, sometimes even lifetimes, takes to forgive. The repetitions of the activities of prayer, meditations, all that we can learn should be repeated as much as we are able to. It's not by just coming for a prayer. If the situation is really deep, and then it takes more time, of course, for forgiving, right? Take place. And then repetition, the habit, and then all these energies will be releasing, and our being is getting back to harmony, in balance over time. Our memories being healed, new experiences. That takes time. Give yourself a time for healing. I'm gonna bring a little more here. Avoid the feeling of guilt if you have not forgiven yet. I tell you, I have heard a lot of speakers, Spiritist speakers. They speak in such a way that it's, you have to forgive. You go to the umbral, this kind of thing. It doesn't help. I see and I have felt the end of the speech, the feeling of guilt in your back. Because despite all the talk, despite the prayer at the end, the passes, you go out of the center, you meet the person and that's there the feeling. Or even you don't have to meet the person, you still after the talk and everything, you still have a feeling of anger towards the person and then say, you remember the talk, oh my God, I have to forgive because I'm a bad person. I'm not advanced enough. How come a spiritist doesn't forgive? How come a person after a year, I'm still having some grudge towards TJ? And then after the thing, you didn't help and the person have a other feeling to work on, is the guilt. Because she couldn't forgive the thing that happened to him, to her, maybe in her childhood. We never know who is out there listening and what kind of wound they are carrying. And then I come up here and say to you, after this talk, you go out here clean and you should be forgotten and forgiven everybody else. Whom am I to say that to you? Do I know you by any chance? I don't know your wounds. No, I don't. You have to have your time. The real secret is that don't postpone the actions. Like Ines said, when you get aware of the thing, start working on the case. Postponing it, is that the problem? For the next lifetime, I'm going to forgive him. I'm going to work on forgiving her. Next year, next month. No, that's not a good idea. So, but taking your time, don't feel guilt if you have still some feelings towards somebody else. It doesn't help you at all. You're going to aggravate the situation for you, because and then you're going to have to work in your guilt feelings too. Forgive yourself, you have not forgiven yet. Forgiving us. If I forgive myself but not been given my forgiveness to somebody else, I've been more in peace and I have more clarification in my mind and my feelings to find ways and tools to work on the case. But if I have hatred towards somebody, I just put my hands towards this way here. Dios is already getting aggravated. I'm testing you, okay? If I getting anger towards somebody, and it's taking time, right, for healing, and because it doesn't come out easy, the way I expected, the way the speaker saying, the way the book is telling me, I start like having some anger towards myself. And then what happens? You have to work the anger towards the person, towards yourself at the end. You better have towards somebody else, right? Maintain working on the case. That's the real secret. Don't give up at all if it's taking time. I can't forgive. That's the worst case scenario, when we give up on the situation. If it's been 15 years already, 25, 40 years later, I'm still hurted. Don't give up. Work another year, work another year, work another one, still another one, until we're gonna get through it. There's a lot of things to come out. And of course, looking for opportunities that will help you. Like today, you know, it wasn't by any chance that the person come out of the blue. Situation will come up, the person will appear, the situation will in some way manage in your way, and then you act. Don't force, be violent against yourself. Working constantly is not means of violence violating yourselves, right? And studying ourselves is really something important. Okay. Take time to know ourselves. If we like really know ourselves, we really gonna know why most of the case we get hurt. And I have seen cases, and maybe you agree with me. The situations that is harder for us to forgive in others is because in the same situation we are stronger. If my virtues are a little more elevated in situation, for example, gossip, right? Some people, they really can't forgive gossip. They're really hard on forgiving some gossiping people. And why? Because most of the time they are not gossip people. And they think they don't accept the fact that other people that has these weaknesses, that they should be the same as him or herself. I'm not a gossiper. How come somebody else be a gossiper? Right? Or another situation. Gossip, what else?
Liars.
Liars. I'm not a liar, right? I suppose I'm not a liar. I can't stand a liar. I can't stand a liar because I don't accept the fact that there are people out there lying and they lie to me. It's because I'm better in this situation. But we don't think that we are not perfect in all things. Because the things that I'm good, some other are not. And something that are people are good, too, I'm not. I'm not a liar. I'm not a gossiper. But I'm very envy. Of course, and people who is not envy will have a hard time forgiving our actions of envy or vanity. And then all this go on and on. Every people has his or her vulnerabilities and his virtues. And that we should keep in mind all the time. So if we see people with their weaknesses, that acknowledge, oh my God. Because it maybe happens that if I'm not a liar, a gossiper, it took me a long time to work it. It took a lot of people to forgive my gossiping situation. It took a lot of time to withstand, to tolerate my liars throughout lifetime. And if I'm not here in this lifetime a liar, it's because a lot of people had forgiven me, helped me. And why not accepting people with their weaknesses too? And acknowledge that I'm not perfect, that I require the same thing from others. And that, of course, will help us to be more aware to whom we are. Okay, go ahead. Getting to know ourselves, let us know more about our strengths and our weaknesses. Of course, working on ways to strengthen ourselves is very important, and it helps forgiving. Working on ways to strengthen ourselves. Because the more often we get hurted, of course, it's a signal that we have more weaknesses. The less often that we get hurted, signal is telling me that I'm getting stronger. My virtue is growing. I'm more humble. I'm more resilient. I'm more compassionate. Because what makes us stronger is our virtues. The stronger our virtues are, the stronger we are. If we are strengthening ourselves, we are preventing further wounds, further hurt feelings, and at the same time we are working in healing the past ones. Right? It's something imbalance in my feelings. And if I strengthen it, it means that I'm vaccinating myself against this virus. I'm not getting contaminated so easy by somebody else's lies, somebody else's gossip, somebody else's way of living, or against humanity, and so forth. Because I'm getting holier and holier. All my being is getting imbalance and imbalance. So every time that I work my being humble, being compassionate, it means that I'm growing and growing. That's why the advanced spirits, because all these virtues are so developed, stronger, amplified, that it would be very hard and sometimes even impossible for some people to really get into them and just harmonize their beings, right? Because they are so fortified in advance that you can't just get in and merge into their harmony. But in our case, we have so much vulnerability or weakness that just a little stone will break our window very easily. Somebody just by looking at us, and then we are already cracking, right? We had to work on this situation. So, and of course, I got his immunize us against bad and evil influences. They're out there, my friends. Ill people, ill spirits, discarnated spirits willingly wanting to harm us. And it's just visualize prayer and everything good that we're doing, that we are getting stronger, and of course getting off their antennas, their signals, their their influences. And then it's really when we get in our freedom, because all along the way we've been enslaved about this. But be compassionate towards ourselves, be loving towards ourselves. We are in stage of growing up, and growing ups make mistakes, make errors, right? We are, by the way, a lot advanced already, because the happen is we are not aware of this yet. It's just like, a very pure comparison. The SUVs, right? Like their engine, their motor has like 300 horsepower. It's very strong, to say that way. Very strong, their power. But the driver just uses about 100 horsepower. The other 200 is not used at all. It's just to show up. I tell you, I'm a mechanic, I know that. A SUV, the driver is very rare they're gonna use more than 100 or 100, at most 150 horsepower in their engine. But they have a motor of 300 horsepower, right? They don't use it. Us, we had a 300 angel power. Already advanced in us. But the thing is that we are just using 100 of it. And of course, unfortunately, there are people still using the horse. Pause. Because they didn't acknowledge that they have these angel powers. They are not animal anymore. Instincts had gone to the past a lot. And if we, really work and put in action what we are already, we could change the world very easily. The thing is that we are so used to hold grudge about people, about situations. That's our repetition throughout time, that we can't forgive the world by the way it is. We are so frustrated because the economy is not this way. We are frustrated with the government because it's not this way. We are frustrated because there is war in other countries. We are frustrated and irritated and sad and depressed because the people, the countries don't act this or that way. And we are still have to forgive the world, to let the world and the people be the way they are, and work. We are spending a lot of time holding grudge about the world, about countries, about people, and not working, and not making efforts, creating situation opportunities for the outcome of the things that we want to live, right? That's we have to work to collectively saying forgiveness. Forgive the world. Forgive the chaos. Forgive the country that's not doing their work yet. And work. Put your angel powers to work. If you do that, if we do that, and then we can make miracles. The thing is that we are withholding our power. We're not like accelerating our spirit, putting the full power. We're just in the road of 60 miles. We just want to go 30 miles, 20 miles, right? Parking here and there. No, people. Let us show our best qualities. And then all these things that we're talking here, forgiveness, will of course come to an end. That's our hope. Okay?